Okay, sad day saying goodbye to the now completed M5. 20,053 miles on the car. I just washed it the other day. It's covered in pollen. I gotta wash it again. But the car is complete. The interior's dialed in, the steering wheel, the suspension, the engine bay, everything that I'd planned on doing to the car is done. I probably would do a couple of other little things, just if I kept it longer term. But in general, I'd say this is a completed vehicle. So I need to stop doing this whole buy cars as a project and then end up hating my life because it's just too much work. So this car, when I first got it, I figured, let's get an M5, and this will be a good family flex vehicle, meaning that Michelle could drive it if we needed the Raptor for anything. And it seemed like a good idea at the time. I'd also buy it, I could make some videos, play with the car, modify the car, do detail it and all of that. Well, in my infinite wisdom, I bought 3 new cars inside of 4 months and had made another huge mistake in it. Like with this car, I didn't buy an intake, anticipate the intake, wait for the intake to come, install it, and then take photos and make a video and move on to the next thing. No, what I did was I bought the car and I bought every part that I could possibly imagine, and then it's all sitting there. And then I did it with another car with a Z06, and it turned into this whole gosh darn nightmare of too much stuff. So I'm not complaining, I'm just telling you why I'm selling this, because I'm telling you how great it is now and how much I like it, and I don't want it to come across as a sales pitch, because it's not. This isn't a sales pitch for you to buy a car of mine. This is me to just talk to you about what my thought process is on this. So I find myself driving around in D mode, D2, no, actually D1. So the way I have suspension set up, I have a suspension on comfort, the car, the throttle response in sport, and the steering in sport. And then the other, so that's my memory 1 mode. Memory 2 mode I have in Sport Plus, Sport, and then I have it in Manual 2. And I tell you, one of the biggest and best modifications I did to this was the steering wheel. It completely transformed the user feel of the car, having this M Performance steering wheel. I actually bought the electronic one and decided I'm a little bit smarter than that. I don't need that. It was just too much electronics going on, considering I have heads-up display, so there really was no need for that, that electronic steering wheel. So I sold that and got this instead. And so now, the car has an active tune, stage 2. It's insanely fast. I like this car. If I had to choose this over my E92 M3, I'd choose the M3, because I'm not highway cruising. I'm driving these roads from my house to my garage, and that's about it. So it's not one of those things that not one of the car that I don't have a use for this car as much. But again, the plan was to Michelle would drive this with the kids, and when I needed the Raptor. But the issue with this is now it's become so nice. The car is just too nice for that purpose. The first day Ryan gets in the car, kicks off the knob on the rear climate control, and I'm freaking out, and then she doesn't want to drive it. And now as the wheels are gray, the car's lowered, she can drive it, but she just doesn't want to. But I found not an issue with horsepower, and you can just drive this thing around in normal automatic mode, and there's no, anybody could drive this thing. There's no issue with traction and all of that people talk about. It's probably somewhere in the low 6s at the wheels. But it's not. You could get it. You could step it out if you want, but pull a third gear and mash the pedal. But I find this really easy to drive. I don't find it to be an issue at all. it's pretty quiet inside. You know, outside the car sounds a lot better than it does inside. But this combination of having, I'm so glad I listened to the guys my friends at IND about doing catted headers or catted downpipes, because there's no real negative byproduct of it. We ceramic coated them, and then my friends at PSI, we thermal wrapped them when we did the install. Turned out fantastic. So factory center section, factory from the downpipes back to the rear section, which is Dynan. You know, the Dynan looks cool. It sounds a little bit different, but the stock exhaust is really not that bad on this car. What I didn't want was something super aggressive. So if you bought this car and you wanted it to be more aggressive, one thing you could do is put catless downpipes, or just do a much louder, more aggressive rear section. But I like it. I like how it's set up. This is a gentleman's monster. But you can very easily manage the torque and throttle on this, and just manage the rear end. You know, I have Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, brand new set of them on the car. They're great. The car is a beast. That's 100, just like that, from 50 to 100 in one flick. Suspension, best thing I've ever done on any car. Dynan sway bars, Dynan camber arms, Dynan sleeved coilovers with factory EDC and factory shocks. I wouldn't change a thing. Absolutely love it. The car is nice and low. Everything about it's just great. It's low. You could raise it up a little bit. You can lower it a little bit more. But yeah, it's really, really good. The only thing I've got to figure out, there's some wind noise. You can probably hear that from the darn carbon fiber side mirror. I thought there was some sort of air leak, which is impossible in this darn thing. This thing locks down. It has the automatic door closure. Dear Lord. This does make the GT3 feel slow. I would love to run them down this road. I guarantee you this car would walk away, even as heavy as it is. Maybe I don't guarantee, but I think it probably would. It certainly feels like it. So Stage 2 active feels bone stock, other than you get another 100 plus horsepower out of the thing. Suspension's great. I love the factory wheels. I really don't like aftermarket wheels on this. I searched pretty far and wide, maybe doing some HRP 101s or something like that, but I just like this car set up stock. The stock wheels have Future Classic 12mm spacers front, 10mm rear. Stock tire sizes in PS4s is great. Yeah, I don't think anything else is really necessary. The carbon ceramics are super touchy. You've really got to, versus other cars, they bite and grab. So, but of course, this car weighs 4,400 pounds or something like that, so you can feel the weight transfer like crazy. But it's surprisingly balanced for such a big car. But it's a BMW M car. That's what these things are about. Yeah, the suspension's so compliant even on this bumpy road. It's good, man. I spent a lot of money on this thing. I added it up. I'm $95,000 into this, and I'm gonna sell it for 75. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of pushback on that, but someone will buy it. If you want an F10 M5, one thing that a lot of people are uncertain of when you get one is it going to be well sorted? Are you going to have a bunch of problems? And so I know that this car is well sorted, mechanically, physically, and then the modifications I've chosen have really turned out well. There's still room to do your own thing if you want to, so you could still do some more stuff. One thing I didn't do was remove the warning labels, which I showed you how to do that on the Corvette. Shoot, if you want me to do that, I'm sure I can do that for you. I'd be happy to make a video. The Dynon intake's freaking awesome. Dynon does well on this car. Some cars there's a lot more aftermarket support or aftermarket options. On this, the Dynon makes a lot of great stuff. Of course, we could do KWV3's suspension or something else, but the Dynon suspensions just makes sense. It improves OEM. It doesn't make it harsh, and there's no drawback. There's no side effect to it. So I find it to be really, really good. I'm telling you, these 3D design paddles are freaking awesome. So, the one thing that I would probably do if I was gonna keep this car, I'd actually want to try to retrofit some F80 competition package seats into this. These seats are big, giant sofas. So I would definitely look into doing that. You would lose a lot of the massaging function and some of the heated stuff. You would lose some of that, and all the adjustability and the side bolster adjustability and all that. But I'm just when it comes to seats, I'm such a simple guy. I don't like all the extra fluff. So yeah, 600 horsepower F10 M5 Silverstone. I was worried that I could make look cool. I'm telling you. I'll put the Flickr album, go check out the photos of this thing. It's so cool. When I see Michelle riding down the road in it, I can just go over to drive and go to memory one, and it's nice, comfortable. Oh boy, you don't squirt your window when there's someone behind you, bro. You just don't do that. Just wait till there's no one behind you. So yeah, I know this car will sell. I'd like to keep it. I'm just not a good person with putting a bunch of cars in a garage somewhere and letting them sit. It stresses me out. And so this is the first sacrificed vehicle in the pursuit of me heading to a much simpler life. I've got a 718 GT4 coming, and so the Corvette, and maybe my E92 will leave, and I'll have a 991.2 GT3 RS, and then the 718 GT4, and just swap those two cars and keep those cars clean and make sure my wife's Raptor's not all jacked up. But I'm going to do a modifications video and why coming up here, show you all that stuff on camera. But anyway, I thought I'd give you a drive from the garage over to here and just talk to you a little bit about the car and my completion. Again, when I got this thing, I really wasn't a huge fan of it. It just felt so boring. But once I get it lowered, and once I got the exhaust and the downpipes, the tune really woke up the car. Once we got all that done, it really turned into something great. So anyway, I wanted to give you a quick rundown. Drive around the block. And see the car. Sounds good. It's cool that once we put the downpipes on, you can really hear the turbo spooling. It's hard for me to share that with you in the car here, but yeah, I'm pleased with how it turned out. I'd like to keep it, but I think I'll do better. I think I'll live a more comfortable life not having so many darn cars. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the M5. Make sure to check out the other video of the options I chose and why, and me wrapping up the car. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.